Hi, and welcome to our final unit on transforming data. Actually, on transforming media. This is the last project of week 3, and it also is the final project that we're doing specifically with data that we've taken out of media. In this unit, we want to do something that is usually considered to be very demanding. We want to apply transforms once again to data that's coming in live from a sensor such as a microphone or a camera. So you've already done the microphone part. Today we're going to do the camera part, and we're going to explore whether and how the same things that Yadga has shown you that work on a still picture might also work on a live video stream. So I'm going to turn on the video here. Go to the sensing category, set the video capture on, and here's a live video feed of me on the stage. Now I'm going to paint a canvas. I'm going to the costumes category and draw just a rectangle. It's going to be a little smaller than the stage so we can distinguish it from its surrounding. Just a rectangle. If I click OK, my face is barred and I'm anonymous now. So how do we get a picture of myself onto that canvas? Well, we can get the video snap on myself. That's not myself as Jens, but that's myself onto that sprite. So if I click on here, I'm getting this little costume, and this is something that I can switch to. So if I'm switching to that costume now, here's a picture of me sticking out my tongue. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the video transparency all the way to 100%. So now I'm only seeing this picture of myself. And I want to try a little effect on that picture that you might have tried yourself when you were dealing with still pictures. I want to reduce the quality of the color resolution. So again, look at the pixels of that costume, which would be the costume, the video snap of myself. I want to map over them. And for every pixel, which now is mapped on a scale of 0 to 255, I'd like to coarsen that scale to have there not be 255 steps, but less. For this less, I'm going to make a variable. That variable I'm going to call factor. And I'm going to start with setting the factor to 100. So I'm setting the factor to 100. And now what I want to do is I want to transform every channel. So what I want to do is I'm going to divide the number by the factor, and then I'm going to cut off the fraction part of it. That can be done using the floor function. So now I'm cutting off what comes after the decimal point, and then I want to expand it again by again multiplying it with the factor. And this I want to do with every color channel. So I'm starting with item 1. I can duplicate this for item 2, and I can duplicate that for item 3. So now I'm making a new list with 4 channels. The alpha channel, the transparency, is going to be untouched. It's going to be solid all the way. And I'm going to put the first channel into the first slot, the second one into the second slot, and the third one into the third slot. This is the function I would like to apply. So let's first check this out on the raw data. I need to attach it to the costume block because it didn't know the factor variable. So I'm going to put this function into the switch to custom block and now do it once. So as you can see, I just made a kind of funky like posterize effect on myself. Now what I want to do is I want to do this all the time as the video data streams in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this forever block and wrap it around the part where we're setting the factor and where we're recomputing the picture. Now if I'm clicking this, it kind of works, but it's very slow. Like it takes a while to compute all the masses of pixels with this function. And this is something about big data that is important. Usually to set that big data comes in 3 kind of flavors, and they're called the 3 V's of big data. Volume, there's just lots of data, too much to handle. Variety, where the data comes from different sources and in different formats. One example is that we have already learned about 2 different ways to represent colors. Hue, saturation, brightness versus the red, green, blue, and translucency channels. And the third V of big data is velocity, where data comes in at high speeds. And we have a mixture of volume and velocity here because our camera is constantly feeding us lots of pixels. So now that we've found out that our function actually works, let's make it faster. In order to make something faster here, we have this still very experimental capacity in Snap to compile it. And we can do this by right-clicking on the map block and choosing compile. And once you choose compile, you'll see the map block turns into a map with a lightning bolt. Now, as you're experimenting with this, mind you that this is still somewhat experimental technology. It works with most functions, but for example, it does not yet, as of recording this video, work with custom blocks. At some time it will. But with this formula, it should work. Let me again start the script. And now you can see that is much faster and is rendering kind of the video almost as it comes in. Now what we can do is, this is still a live function, even though we're speeding it up. So we can now experiment with different parameters for the factor. For example, I can change the factor to 200. And now I'm kind of turning red and green. And I can make it a little less. And that's actually a little more. Make it a little less as it's running. And you can see I'm kind of turning into this almost devilish creature. As you can see, the green screen, the actual green screen behind me. So now we're reducing the quality of the color resolution, which means that only the reds in my face kind of survive, and obviously the greens on the background behind me. And there are some fun things we can do. Like we can still play the same tricks that Yadka had played with her effects. Like, what if we kind of map both the first and the second channels to the same channel? Now I'm kind of yellowish. What if the third channel kind of is bluish? Now this is kind of almost like a posterize effect. We can try different things. Now it's green in front of blue. We can also kind of turn it into different colors. So this is one way how we can do this to live data. And as you see, it's not much different from applying it to still data. And that's an important thing we'd like to show you, that the same technology, the same ideas that we're applying to static data, we can use them the same way as data is live and coming in. As we're in a video studio and I've already shown you this green screen behind me, which you can only see actually in the camera view here. So if I'm going to kind of turn this again transparent, you can again see the green screen behind me. The idea was, why don't we try to kind of simulate what's going on in this very studio by making a little green screen program. For this, I'm going to stop the video right now, go to the stage, and import an alternative background. Let me import the underwater background. Here's a picture of underwater, and even another one. Let me try to get a picture of the moon, and maybe another one of a city night. Oh, here's the city and of the night in the city. So now I have a bunch of pictures. I'm going to make a little script that whenever I press the space key, I'm going to switch to the next costume. So now I can iterate through these. And now what I want to do is, I want to project myself underwater. So by doing this, I want to do the same thing. I want to switch to the costume, that is kind of my untitled blank costume, and then I want to switch to another costume that I'm computing. And I want to filter out the greens behind me. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to say map over the pixels of what's coming in. This is this block. Map over the pixels of the video snap on my costume. And then check out whether it's green. So here is something. Yadgar showed you that you can drag something like an if and else block into the ring of map. I want to show you a different way. We also have a reporter, the if then else reporter, taking this, and it works the same thing. So I can check, for example, whether the green of my background, remember green is the second channel, so it's the item 2 of the background, is above a certain threshold. Let's actually start with 100. And if it is above a certain threshold, I'd like to make it all transparent. Now, remember transparency, and this is kind of the only place where we ever need that. Transparency is the 4th channel. Usually I'm typing in 255 to make it all solid. In this case, I'm going to turn it all the way down to make it all transparent. So everything in here is going to be 0. And what happens if it doesn't reach that threshold? Well, if it doesn't reach that threshold, I'm just going to leave it blank. I'm going to leave the color as it is because I want that color to be there. Let's try this right now. And you see the background here. And it didn't, oh wait, I need to again make the transparency all. So, try this again. And now you see my face superimposed over the background. So it kind of works. And so we can already try to do this live. So I'm taking the forever block, I'm wrapping it around, and it should work. And you can see it recomputing it at every frame. And remember, to make it faster, we can compile it. So I'm going to right click on here and compile it. And now it's already much faster. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to increase this level to, let's say, 160. And now you can see that parts of my face are still there, but you kind of see where the green screen behind me is cut off, but you still see the ceiling. So what I now need to do is I'm going to turn my computer down my camera so you only see the background. And guess what? Now I'm under the sea, and if I press to the next one, I'm in a different setting, under the sea. Kind of the same thing that is happening in this very video. And you can see some areas on my head are kind of still shining through. So this is something where we can experiment with tweaking with the threshold. Now you see more of it shining through. If I'm going all the way to 200, kind of you see more of the greens of the background coming through. And here I am on the moon. How cool is that? Again, let's play a little bit with the threshold. This works better for the moon. And finally, I'm in the video studio here, kind of, I can read the news to you. This is how we can apply functions to live video, and this is masses of pixels that we're recomputing at every frame here, but don't be afraid. It's just numbers and functions. And that's the big message really here. As we're entering the fourth and final week, we're going to take these concepts and apply them to other kinds of data that comes from other sources. And we're calling this data science. But it really is just the same thing. There's hardly anything in computer science that we can't do with just applying functions to data. I can't wait for next week. And have fun with the exercises.